President Trump set to hold a live event just after noon today, honoring the heroes of ICE. Here's him thanking them on Thursday.
You think you're going to send just regular people in to take care of MS-13 and these gangs? Not going to happen. So I just want to thank ICE and everybody in law enforcement for the incredible job they've done and are doing.
This, as the Democrats are still calling for the agency's disbandment. They want to abolish ICE, some even making that part of their November election platform. Joining us now to discuss it is former U.S. Small Business Administrator and the Latino Coalition Chairman, Hector Barreto. Great to see you, Hector. Thanks for being here.
Good morning, Maria. Great to be here.
So we're looking at what the president is doing today in terms of ICE in an environment where, economically speaking, things are going pretty well. Your thoughts?
Well, listen, I think it's important that the president is acknowledging the ICE agents. You know, they're really on the front lines, and everybody's concerned about security in the United States, especially at our borders. A lot of those ICE agents are Hispanic agents, so it's a good idea to put a spotlight on them. But to your point, the economy's doing great. You know, small business optimism is almost at a 45-year high, and that's not by accident. We really have an environment where these businesses are able to start and grow over the long term, and a lot of that has to do with the administration and their policies.
You know, we've been talking for a while about the importance of this midterm election, and for a little while there were these thoughts that we would have a blue wave, the Democrats. But I think as part, now recently that's changed. People are talking either a red wave or certainly the Republicans keeping the majority. Part of that, I think, is what's coming from the left, like these ideas to abolish ICE.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, a lot of Democrats are actually nervous about this because they feel like their party is going too far over to the left. And, you know, you have to have something to beat something. It's easy to be against things, but we're not going to have ICE. What are we going to use to protect ourselves at the border? That makes no sense at all, and I think that's going to backfire on them.
And they're also fighting the president's immigration laws. This weekend, ICE agents in California arrested a man. He was driving his pregnant wife to the hospital for a planned C-section. So there was a lot of outrage that he was arrested. But what many mainstream outlets actually failed to mention is that this man was wanted on a murder charge out of Mexico. Yeah. How extraordinary. I mean, here's People magazine's headline. ICE arrests man driving pregnant wife to hospital for birth, leaving her stranded in tears. Without mentioning at all, this guy's up for murder.
Oops, I forgot the most important thing of the story. Listen, anytime you hear these stories, they're unfortunate, they're very disturbing. Obviously, we know the majority of people that are here are not, you know, wanted for murder. But that is a very important point to make. And, you know, here's the other part of the story, Maria. Most Hispanics want immigration reform and don't agree with a lot of policies that they had in the past. And part of the reason is it's common sense. They're the ones that are affected by the bad things that happen in those communities. So, you know, hopefully this is a wake-up call for both parties. You know, we've been talking about this for 30 years, and we can do better than this, and we need to fix it. The president can't do it by himself. The administration can't do it by themselves. They've got to have willing partners on both sides of the aisle.
Hector, when do you think actually we're going to get some reform?
Not before the midterm election. If you know anything, they stop doing everything right before the election. Right. They just attack each other. Well, except fundraising.
Well, the House is in recess. Where are they?
Yeah.
A month-long vacation.
So hopefully, you know, anytime that you have an election, you have a little bit of a honeymoon period right afterwards, and hopefully with a new Congress, they're able to do something about that.
Do you think the plan would, for some kind of compromise, will be what President Bush had proposed over 10 years ago, which was, okay, you came here illegally, you're not going to become a citizen, but you're going to get a work permit, you can stay here, you can pay taxes. Will it be something along those lines?
Well, a lot of that has to be negotiated, but the goalposts continue to change. I was in the Bush administration when we were trying to get it done. We had control of both chambers of Congress. The economy was doing relatively well, and we couldn't get anything done. So it's a toxic environment. I think the president has signaled many times and actually surprised people that he's willing to do more than some of the people in his own party want to do, but he's got to have a willing partner to do it.
The far left of the Democratic Party, though, has really pushed the narrative on this. Abolish ICE, open borders. Yeah. Say it over and over and over again. As in some of these mainstream media outlets, these TV networks, they're pushing a very extreme agenda of issues and stories that simply don't matter.
Oh, they're driving the bus for the extreme left. Yeah.
Right. But again, it's about the Mueller. It's Russia, 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 Russia. nonstop. And to the average person who's going to work in the morning, supporting a family, seeing a higher paycheck, the quality of their health care is improving because of the private sector. Again, that's what matters to people. And ultimately, the president will get credit for that.
Right.
And all of this dishonesty in the media is also hurting the extreme left as well. I mean, to do this story about, oh, he was stripped from his pregnant wife and totally omit the other information, that's just dishonesty, and that's why the president calls them fake news.
There's no doubt about it. Look, they tried this during the presidential election, demonize the opponent. But again, people want to know what you're going to do to make their lives better. And I don't hear a lot of people on the other side talking about policy prescriptions. They hate everything that's going on right now. Economy's doing well, unemployment's down, people are optimistic. They're going to have a better counter argument than what they're doing right now.
No, to this point, I call them witless lemmings gobbling up left-wing clickbait and then just regurgitating it all over social media in the form of hate. And that's exactly, I think you saw that happen this past weekend.
Yeah. And I'm not going to call them fake news, but I will call them out for ignoring one of the biggest stories of our time, and that is the abuse of power that took place in the summer of 2016 at the top of the FBI and the DOJ. This is an extraordinary story. It's coming out now, but to ignore that story in the mainstream media and constantly focus on Mueller and Russia on no evidence is just, it's horrible. And that's the legacy.